Good day, everybody, and I'm really pleased to have you at this workshop with the title Role of Content Digitalization and AI Integration in Education. First of all, let me apologize that some of you may not hear me properly, either because of my accent or whatever it is. But the second is that point I want to make is that we are talking about digitalization and not digitizing. Digitalization is different from you to digitize documents. If you have documents in the library and you want to convert them to electronic documents, you digitize them. But digitalization is quite different. We are moving on to digital literacy platform. We are also integrating it with artificial intelligence and how this can be used in education. The point is this, and that's the thought I want to make. Without you getting on board as teachers or as anybody interested in education, in digital literacy and or artificial intelligence, then you're just wasting your time being part of whatever anybody is doing now. The 21st century can only move on, and is only moving on with those who are on the e-learning platform. And teachers must be in the forefront to learn about this. Whatever you are seeing on this is just giving you an idea of who I am and where I have been. You can go back and check it. I don't need to say anything. But also to let you know that as we are moving on, that the world is changing. And it's changing at a rate that most of us cannot keep pace with. There's a silent evolution. For those of you who are biologists or who know about evolution, you will know that we moved from all kinds of grays to Homo sapiens. And so we now became Homo sapiens in a section that we can now stand erect and walk around. But the silent evolution that is going on is in the brain and is being used copiously through knowledge and information. And so things are changing in such a way that there are four changes that are happening in the world. The first is that there is a lot of progress being made on space exploration, as many of you are aware. The second is that the future of jobs and human capital development is taking the front stage everywhere. We are looking at jobs. We are looking at how to develop people to take care of these jobs. As you may be aware, millions and millions of jobs are needed for the 21st century. At the same time, millions of jobs currently being held will be out of date. And it is because of this that we need to move on and we need to talk about the emergence of new technologies, including artificial intelligence. That is you can use it to do all sorts of things. In fact, the phone you have is being controlled in many ways using artificial intelligence. You're using Google Drive, you're using Google Map, you're checking anything, you're having all your content stored and being restored is all part of artificial intelligence. The fourth change that is happening in the world is the use of education to disrupt everything that is happening in the world. And so when you look at a country like Nigeria, and you look at its development, and you look at education, there is a clear relationship between how a country is being governed, how it is progressing economically and educationally, and in totality its development. If you show me the level of development in a country in Africa, I can show you the level of their education. Conversely, if you show me the level of their education, I can tell you the level of development. And that the indices of this level of development include literacy, poverty, development, economic development in many ways. So if you have low level of development, of course you have low level of education. If you have a high level of education, you have high level of development, and that eradicates illiteracy and poverty and other things. And that's what we're trying to make education do. And that's why people like the late Nelson Mandela, the forefront revolutionary anti-apartheid process, said that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And he ended up by saying that no country can really develop unless its citizens are educated. So that's related to what I've just said. And of course, Paulo Freire, the late Brazilian philosopher, talks about how education changes people and how the people now change the world. So it is not education per se as we have it that will change the world directly. You have to use education to change the people, and then the people will change the world. And UNESCO has told us that things have to change. As far back as 2016, UNESCO says that education needs to fundamentally change if we are to reach our global development goals. It means even the education, whatever we are teaching in the primary school today, in the secondary school, at the university, must all drastically change. Whatever we are teaching now, whatever you as a teacher is teaching today is already outdated. We have to change things. We have to reconfigure our curriculum. We have to reconfigure our day-to-day content. We have to put in modern-day content that keep coming on. And that is what the Sustainable Development Goals of UNESCO is all about. There are 17 of them, and you can see them on the slide. It tells us, and the one I want to take particular notice is the number 4, which talks about quality education. And that is where education, artificial intelligence, blockchain, everything are coming. Education, UNESCO, this is an expansion of what the Goal 4 is talking about, that it must ensure the inclusion and equitable quality education and to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Because we are all learning, because we all belong to lifelong learning, we now call everybody, we no more call people students, we call them learners. So all of us are learners. Don't call your students anymore. They are all learners. Even us as teachers, we are no more teachers. We are actually facilitators. When you say you are a teacher, it means that you seem to want to open the head, the brain of a learner and push in all the knowledge in it, which is not true. Because most of our students, our learners, now get their everything they want to learn on the internet. We can only just guide them. We are only facilitating their learning. And that's what we should bear in mind. And I want you to also note, finally, that technology will increasingly dominate our life, whether it's domestic or economic or political or social life. Of course, even political, that's what has taken us to court now, taking Nigeria to court, because they are talking about the beavers and all. They could not upload, they could not download, they could not do things. So it's also dominating all parts of our life. The financial and economic world will change into a plastic world. And that's why all of us, we are using cards now. You know, when you want to pay, you use card. When you go to the POS, you use card. When you go to a restaurant now, they tell you, some restaurants now say they don't take money. They take cards. And so you have to learn it. So there's an increase in demand for constant communication and use of telecommunication. And society will become less personal. We concentrate more on nuclear family, sending messages to each other via WhatsApp or TikTok or whatever it is. Hardly do people write letters by hand anyway these days. You don't need it. And we actually demand, there's a lot of demand for education. And because of this, the African Union has come up with what Africa must be by the year 2063 in a document called the Africa We Want. And it is, let me quote a few parts of it, to create an Africa of our dreams that is prosperous, healthy, vigorous, creative, and very and exciting. And to achieve this, as has been done in other parts of the world, Africa must refocus on using education as a fundamental and viral instrument for continental and regional as well as national development. This is what brings us back to the title of this seminar, the workshop. We must be talking about digitalization. We must be talking about emerging technologies, which include the first one we want to discuss in this very workshop, which is artificial intelligence. Subsequently, we are going to be talking about several other emerging technologies. And if I'm to talk to you as a friend, I think if you have not registered for this course, if you have not paid for it, if you have not gotten other people to register, you better rush, because the spaces are getting filled up. People need to pay, you need to learn, you need to bring in your friend and your family to register for this particular course, which is like foundation course 101, for you to understand what teaching is like in this new dispensation of the 21st century dominated by digital literacy and emerging technology. Thank you.
OES, Smarter Planning, Smarter Learning.